Welcome back to my channel. This week's video is so exciting and I'm so excited to share it with you guys. We are going to be doing a week of workouts and I'm going to be taking you through my new 4-day split. If you watched my previous video, you know that I recently changed my programming to reflect my new goals in 2024. So yeah, I'm really excited to share that with you guys. But before we get into the video, I do have a couple of housekeeping things, just little things that I forgot to mention during the voiceover. Number one is just some terminology. A superset is going to be 2 exercises that you do back to back with little to no rest in between. A triset is like a superset, but with 3 exercises instead of 2. And any more than 3 exercises that you are doing back to back with little to no rest in between would be considered a circuit. So that's number one. Number 2 is in a lot of these clips, you're going to be seeing me doing my working weight or my working sets. Basically, this is just a weight that is reasonably challenging for me and kind of is the weight that will take me to hypertrophy, but I don't start there. I do warm-up sets. I like to usually start at about 50% or less of my working weight and then work my way up from there just to make sure that you're getting your body warmed up and used to the movement, and that when you finally get to your working weight or your working sets, you're going to be executing the movement with proper form. So without further ado, let's get into the video. I have talked long enough. Okay, so this is our first day, day 1 of 4. Today is our first leg day with a glute focus, and we are starting off with a warm-up. I am doing 90-90 rotations. Basically, I'm just keeping my legs at a 90-degree angle and then lowering them down to the floor as much as my mobility allows me to. This really helps to open up my hips, which are fairly tight. And then we are moving into thread the needle. This exercise is really good for warming up your trunk and getting mobility and movement through your back and your core. Basically, I'm just keeping my shoulders square with the ground. As I reach up, I'm opening up my chest, getting that stretch there, and then lowering down through my arm as low to the floor as my mobility allows, keeping my back flat. Next, we are moving into a series of movements that are going to help with my wrist mobility. I like to incorporate these in my warm-up regardless of if I'm doing upper body or lower body. Basically, I'm just pointing my wrists towards me, stretching them, flipping them over. In a second here, I will be rocking from side to side. Essentially, I just feel like it helps me to get some movement and flexibility through my wrists, as well as improve my grip strength, which is something that I'm really trying to work on this year. So yeah, I like to include these regardless of if I'm doing upper body or lower body. They're really just a warm-up staple for me. Next, we are moving into some more warm-up movements for our lower body. I am going to be opening up the gate and also closing the gate. Again, this just helps to get movement and mobility through my hips. My hips tend to be really tight. I used to be a soccer player, and soccer players are known to have really tight hip flexors, so I really like to warm those up. Next, we are going into some hamstring calf stretches. I really like this movement for my hamstrings and calves, obviously just to get some movement through the back of my legs and also some stretch through the back of my legs. Same thing here with kicking upwards. You just want to make sure that you are stabilizing your body through your core. And then we're moving into kind of some lunge stretches. I have no idea what these are called. I really like them for ankle mobility. I'm basically just trying to get my knee as far in front of my toe as possible without my heel coming up off of the ground. And then again, our last hip opener, I have my foot rotated 90 degrees. My knee is pointed right over my foot, and I'm using my arm to kind of keep my knee parallel as I am stretching. Alrighty, so we're going to move into our first set of exercises. It is a superset, which means that we are completing 2 exercises back to back with little to no rest in between. Our 2 exercises are going to be hip thrusts and calf glute bridges. The difference between a hip thrust and a calf glute bridge essentially is just your range of motion. So with a hip thrust, as you can see, I have full range of motion. I'm keeping my chin tucked, my back flat, and I am hinging through my hips. Then we're moving to a calf glute bridge. As you can see, my range of motion is about half. I had to take a little break because my glutes were on fire. I'm not gonna lie to you. This superset, it's a bit brutal. It's gonna have your glutes on fire, but that's how we get juicy booties, and we all want juicy booties. So I'm just finishing up my set here. Again, half the range of motion, really hinging through my hips, keeping my chin tucked, back flat. Our next exercise is going to be a deficit reverse lunge. So the deficit comes from elevating your working leg. Here I'm just using 2 small plates, big enough for the area of my foot, and then we are lunging back. I also have a forward lean in my lunge. This helps to recruit more of your glute muscles as opposed to your quads. If I was standing straighter, I would be recruiting more of my quad than my glute, and this is a glute focus day, so we don't want that. Again, trying to get that juicy booty. Now, we are moving into another superset. We are supersetting kettlebell sumo squats with kettlebell swings. We are keeping our backs flat, pushing up through our heels, and we have our toes pointed out to again recruit more of our glute muscle versus our quads. Then I'm going for a lighter weight, and we're going straight into kettlebell swings. You really want to make sure that you're hinging at your hips, your back is flat, your arms are just hooks for the weight. You are not swinging through your arms. Instead, you are using the momentum and power from your legs to get the kettlebell up. Our last exercise is going to be a glute medius kickback. Here you can see I'm stepping my left leg over my right leg in order to increase the range of motion that I have in the kickback, and I'm not kicking back straight behind me. I'm kicking off to the side like I'm trying to close a door. My back is flat. I'm not leaned too far over, and this is really going to work our glute medius. And we are done with our leg day. Alrighty, so now we are in day 2 of our 4-day split. This is our upper body day, so I'm just showing you my upper body warm-up routine. We're starting with some band pull-aparts. I got this band off of Amazon. I've had it for a few years now, so definitely really holds up. But yeah, I'm just gonna do some band pull-aparts, really gets my back warmed up, and then we're gonna go straight into some shoulder rotations. This really helps to open up my shoulders. I'm somebody who has tight shoulders, I got tight hips, I got tight shoulders, and we gotta make sure all that stuff is loose when we are about to work out. So I'm gonna do a single arm variation of the shoulder rotations, and then when I finish my single arm variation of the shoulder rotations, I'm going to move straight into using both of my arms, and we're just taking our arms over our head, keeping our body stabilized, keeping the distance with the band the same throughout. And then we are gonna move straight into some banded bicep curls. I usually only do this as part of my warm-up routine if I have programmed bicep curls into my actual workout. This allows me to feel my biceps a lot more when I'm doing bicep curls and allows them kind of just to fire on all cylinders. So I really like to incorporate those. All right, so this is a little bit unconventional. A lot of people like to do this next movement on their leg day. I prefer to do it on my upper body day because I feel it the most in my back. So we are starting with some conventional deadlifts. Right now you can see me just getting strapped in. I have said this before, my grip strength is weak. So in order to get the most out of my lifts, I have to use grips. Alrighty, so we are starting with our conventional deadlifts. You can see my back is flat. At the bottom of each rep, I am resetting. I do this because I want to make sure that my form is good. And on my eccentric, which is the part of the movement where I am coming back down to the floor, you can see it's really fast. When you're doing conventional deadlifts, you want to make sure that you're not moving slow on your eccentric because you can really hurt yourself by doing that. All right, and our next set of exercises is going to be a tricep. That means that unlike a superset, instead of doing 2 exercises, we're gonna be accomplishing 3 back to back to back. So we're starting off with pre-loaded barbell bicep curls. We're doing 8 to 10 of these. You wanna make sure that you keep your elbows pinched by your side and you don't have too much movement in your body, like swinging back and forth. And next we're gonna move into upright rows. You wanna make sure that you keep your shoulders down. You wanna drive your elbows towards the sky and keep the weight very close to your chest, coming up as high as you can, keeping good form. And then our last exercise in this tricep is going to be just a shoulder press. You wanna make sure that you are keeping the barbell path straight up and down. And when you come up to the sky, you are pushing your head kind of through. You don't want to push the barbell behind you. You just want to push your head through the barbell path. All right, I apologize for this angle. I'm still trying to figure out what works best in the gym with my camera setup. So we're moving into some seated rows. You really want to make sure that you are contracting on the back end of the row. So you want to make sure that you are trying to pull your hands as close to your chest, like the middle of your body, as you possibly can. And by this point, y'all, like I really was dead. Like my arms felt like noodles and I was so dead. Alrighty, and it's honestly a good thing that I was as dead as I was because this is our last exercise for our upper body day. And we're just doing some tricep push downs with the straight bar attachment. Oh, and I included this because y'all, like, I literally did that and it was not heavy enough. So don't be afraid to push yourself. Don't be afraid to get more weight. Increase your weight when you have to. Don't be afraid to decrease your weight when you have to. Like, the gym is all about you. It's not about anybody else. So make sure you're pushing yourself when you can. So yeah, we're just gonna do some tricep push downs. You wanna make sure that, again, you're keeping your elbows pinched close to your side. You're pushing the bar straight down until you feel an extension in your tricep. And when you come back up, you wanna make sure that you're not coming all the way up so that you reset the weight. You wanna keep tension on the weight and tension on that cable. And we're done. Alrighty, y'all, so we are on day 3 of our 4-day split. This is my cardio and abs day. The choice of cardio always changes for me because I like to switch it up. I don't like to be bored. And this week we are doing HIIT cardio and we're gonna be completing a circuit, 6 exercises in the circuit, each exercise 3 times, complete the circuit twice, sorry. So we're first starting off with squat to press, or thrusters as some people call it. This is a great full body movement, works your lower body, works your upper body, and you wanna make sure you're picking a weight that is challenging, but not so challenging you can't do the movement with good and proper form. After we complete our first exercise, we're going to rest and then move into our second exercise, which is going to be push-ups. You can choose to do these on your hands and feet or your hands and knees, whatever your strength and mobility allows. And you wanna make sure that, again, you are challenging yourself, but keeping your form proper. So as you can see, I only did like 4 push-ups, but that's all the reps that I had in the tank, and I knew that I could do those, keeping my form intact. So our third exercise is going to be bicycle crunches. You really want to focus on keeping your back flat on the floor, your belly button pulled through to the floor. When you are crunching up, you want to make sure that you're pulling in through your abs and getting your upper back off the floor using your abs. As you lower your legs to the floor, you want to make sure that you're getting them as low as possible without compromising your lower back coming up off of the floor. Our fourth movement is going to be gorilla rows. Again, pick a weight that is challenging, but not one that compromises your form. You want your back to be flat. You're kind of in a tabletop seated position, and you are pulling the weight up through your lats, through your back. When done properly, this movement is really challenging, as you can see by the faces that I'm making. And our fifth exercise is going to be kettlebell swings. I love me some kettlebell swings. They're really good for your lower body. Again, you're using your hands and your arms as hooks for the weight, and you're driving the kettlebell up through your legs and your glutes, keeping your back flat as you swing down and your core engaged. And our sixth and final movement is going to be Russian twists with a dumbbell. As you can see, my body is shaking. That is because I'm stabilizing myself through my abs. As you twist from side to side, you want to make sure that you're not also twisting your legs. If this is too challenging, you can always put your feet on the floor and just kind of lean back to engage your core. And that's it for day 3. Alrighty, so this is day 4 of our workout split, the 4th and final day, our second leg day. So this leg day is going to be a focus on our overall legs, so quads and hamstrings and calves. We are starting off with some barbell back squats. This was a PR for me. I'm really excited about that because I haven't squatted in a very long time. And squats were really never my strong suit. I, in fact, kind of hate them a little bit, but this year I want to get better at them. So we're starting off, the barbell is at chest height. That's really important because after I plant my feet, get my feet set, when you are starting the movement, you want to make sure that when you stand up, the barbell comes straight off the rack and you're not putting in any extra effort to try to get it up. Then you don't want to do what I just did, which is take a bunch of little steps. You want to take 2 big steps on your way back from the rack so that you don't use too much energy. And then you're just going to go straight into the movement. You want to keep your back flat. You want to push up through your heels. And as you can see, my head is straight forward. That way my neck and my spine are in alignment. And then once I finish the movement, I'm gonna walk straight into the rack. I'm not gonna try to set one side down then the other because that is a really quick way to hurt yourself. Our next exercise is going to be Romanian deadlifts. I like this exercise because it really gives me a good stretch in my hamstrings. Out of all of my leg muscles, my hamstrings are a bit weaker. And as you can see, my grips have made an appearance once again. Still working on that grip strength, and it was feeling a little bit extra weak today. So we decided to get out the grips, and I have the barbell on kind of like it's the safety rack part of the squat rack. And that's just because I don't want to have to go straight from the ground into the movement. So I kind of do like a little mini deadlift to get the bar up. And then I walk back to prepare for the RDLs. So the bar path is really close to my shins. Like I'm following my leg all the way down to my shins, almost scraping my knee when I come back up. And we are hinging at our hips, making sure our back is flat. You want to go all the way down until you feel the stretch in your hamstring and then come back up. You don't want to lower from your back. You want to kind of just push your butt out as far as you can using your hips as a hinge in order to get closer to the floor. And you're really gonna feel this stretch in your hamstrings, and that's how you know it's working real good. Our next exercise is going to be a superset. We're going to do a regular leg press, and then we're gonna move into calf raises. So for our leg press, I am really focusing on making sure that my legs are not locked out as they straighten in this movement. If you lock your legs, you will hurt yourself. So as you're pushing out, you wanna make sure not to lock your legs, and then you want to bend as close to your body as you can, as your range of motion and mobility allows. This is me taking off the weight for my calf raises. Now, doing calf raises on a leg press machine is, in my opinion, a little bit of an advanced move. Like, I wouldn't tell a beginner to do calf raises on the leg press machine. I don't like to use multiple machines, and I also don't like to do standing calf raises. That's just a personal preference. So I do them on the leg press machine, but it is a little bit of an advanced move because the leg press machine, I don't know, I just feel like a lot can really go wrong if you don't know what you're doing with this machine. So I am keeping a slight bend in my knee. My toes are at the end of the machine, and I'm just pressing the weight up using the ball of my foot to engage my calves. All right, our fifth exercise that we are going to move into is going to be the leg extension machine. Me and this machine, we really have a love-hate relationship. Like, it makes the quads so juicy, but it is so painful. My one tip that I have for this machine is just to make sure, like, to know that you are sitting in the right place. Where your leg bends is where you should be at the end of the seat. And that's really all I can say about this. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. Pick a weight that's challenging. Again, you wanna make sure you're doing it with proper form. You're not going too fast, you're not going too slow. And yeah, as you can see, I'm in a lot of pain. Every single time I do this exercise, I question why I even programmed it in the first place, but it makes the quads juicy, so we have to, you know, keep going with it. Our last exercise for leg day is going to be the lying leg curl or the prone leg curl. This one is equally as horrible as the leg extension. It burns your hamstrings really, really badly. Again, you wanna make sure that the pad where you're curling is kind of in the middle of your calf, a little bit above your ankle, and that's all I got for this one. It's a fire exercise, but it really hurts. And that concludes our week of workout. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you got something out of it. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and leave a comment down below. And also make sure to subscribe so that you get more videos like this one. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.